morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. The day today is, I don't know when this is going to go up. This is the first chance that I've had to record an Evergreen episode. One of those episodes that... Can you hear that? Holy smokes. I'm seeing what's going on. There might be a car accident down there. I'm letting this roll in real time. There might be a car. I don't know if you could hear that honk. If you couldn't, go back to when I paused and turned around and turn up the volume. There was a just honk, honk, honk. There's a non-zero chance there's a car accident down there right now. I can't quite get a good angle on it. I tell you what, now that the trees are starting to bloom again, now there's not as much coverage. Being up on the 16th floor, I don't know what's going on down there, but something seems to be going on. This is the first episode that I've had a chance to record for paternity leave. So by the time you're listening, that's why I don't know what the date is. I'm recording this on the 15th of April. Recorded a nice episode this morning. We talked about the playoffs. But today I was like, well, I might as well read a bunch of emails or something. I was like, maybe that's a good way to spend an Evergreen episode. And then I was like, and then whatever else we get into it. But I don't want it to be too topical because then it might age poorly. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into some emails. We're just going to rapid fire them. And as a matter of fact, as of this recording, there are like 7 unread emails from the last 2 hours. So maybe we'll do something fun where we just blind read an email. And if it sucks, then it sucks. And there's nothing. And then I have to try to be nice about it on the fly, which I don't know if I'm going to be able to do. But let's do this email first. This one comes to us from Emily. And Emily, welcome to the show. Subject line, Doris Burke Supremacy, a message from the 0.01%. The 0.01% is referencing to the listenership of this show. It is predominantly male. Not a lot of women listen to the show. I've learned, you know what I've learned from some of your guys' comments and some of your emails is I don't do that well with your significant others, which bums me out. One of you guys sent in an email that was like, she just thinks that the jokes that you make aren't very nice sometimes. She said that sometimes you joke too much about Russia and Ukraine. And I was like, that makes me sad that you feel that way. I don't think you're wrong. But here's my thing. The only reason that I make jokes about the stuff that I make jokes about, I don't know if I really need to qualify this. Sorry, Emily, we'll get to your email in just a second. Welcome to the show still. My thing is I'm only going to joke about something if I understand the nuances of it, and if I understand sort of the intricacies of what this social issue actually is. And so that way in my brain, it feels like I'm qualified to actually make a joke because I understand why it's actually not funny. And so in doing that, I think the more that you know about something, the more, because it's one thing to make jokes about something that's, not good that's happening in the world in a sort of naive way when you don't know. But then the response to this is like, no, there's not really one. I'm just right about, I think I'm just right. Emily, why don't we jump into your email? I think it's a good one here. Subject line again is Doris Burke Supremacy. Hi, Nick. I've had this in the chamber for about 3 months, but I didn't want to come off as insane. But since you addressed Doris Burke on a recent episode, I wanted to get something off of my chest. I am over the hate surrounding Doris Burke's game calling. In a world where nationally broadcasted commentary is increasingly obsolete, and then parenthetically, just watch the game. You don't need ESPN or TNT pundits explaining what you're seeing, close parentheses. I am sick that ESPN's mass firings during the preseason caused a well-respected female reporter to be massively criticized for a decision that wasn't hers, but actually ESPN's. And then once again, parenthetically, did we really need Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe? I'm going to break the email for a second. Kind of. Emily, I think maybe a little bit. I think for the culture of talk show TV, like talking head TV is a better way to phrase it. Yeah, actually I do. Because Stephen A. Smith can only carry that show for so long. And as much as we would all like to go back to our childhoods, our high school days of Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, we're never going to get that again. And they tried to do it with Will Cain, but Will Cain decided that Fox News was more interesting to him and doing conservative rhetoric on 3 o'clock television is just more compelling to him. There's more juice. There's more money. All right, Will Kane, go for it. And he put himself in a box because he sort of just became, as soon as your job on those talk shows is to be the guy who's like, I don't think Colin Kaepernick should be alive. As soon as it's your job to argue that side of shit, you're digging yourself in a hole that's going to be really hard to get out of. And sometimes I just think that that's maybe what Will Kane did. It seems like maybe that's what he wanted to do. So whatever, more power to him. He's probably getting paid a shit ton of money. So then they pivoted and they were like, what about Max Kellerman? Here's the problem with Max Kellerman. I liked him, but Stephen A. Smith didn't. So then it's like, okay, well, you need somebody to bounce off of this guy. Pause. You need somebody who's actually able to kind of go toe-to-toe with Stephen A. Smith and keep up with him in a way that it felt like ESPN and First Take weren't able to find. And maybe there's someone that I'm forgetting about that they kind of tried to do some stuff with him with. I'm not remembering everybody off the top of my head. So did they need to do Shannon Sharpe? I mean, in the sense that Shannon was the only other one on a competing network that would have made sense to put with Stephen A. Smith. You know, if you're trying to form this like big two on ESPN on your most profitable show, the show that gets you more ratings than anything else as far as, again, talking head television goes, yeah, it makes sense to put the two leading powerhouses together. So did they need to do it? I guess no, but it definitely made a lot of business sense. And I think the results have been not maybe what they thought it would be, because you don't really see, in an ideal world, if you're ESPN, and Emily, I sincerely apologize, we will read the rest of your email. But hey, you asked the question. In an ideal world, the best case scenario for ESPN here would have been that like memes form from this shit. That at some point there would have been a social breakout of Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe maybe getting into it with each other, or just a funny sort of reaction, like just something. And we really don't think that's happened yet. I don't think there's been like a pivotal moment. You know that they do the show together, but they haven't had like a moment. Do you know what I mean? So, Emily, let's get back to your email here. It seems to have lost my spot. During the 2023 playoffs, fans were memeing about how bad Van Gundy and Mark Jackson were, and that ultimately led to their firing. And now that Doris Burke Doris Burke, let me do a quick little reset here. During the 2023 playoffs, fans were memeing on how bad Van Gundy and Mark Jackson were, and that ultimately led to their firings. And now that Doris Burke took this position over, every game that she calls gets massively criticized by people who haven't gotten half of the career that Doris Burke calls. As a woman who watches basketball, I love Doris Burke's perspective, because seeing how male athletes push the boundaries of what is possible is why I think a lot of other women watch professional sports. Yes, I understand that Doris Burke yelling, "No!" after the Celtics were called for a lane violation was a bit unprofessional, but I found her passion relatable, as that is how I would have reacted if that happened to my team. No, I don't love how Doris puts Embiid and Jokic and Tatum on a totem pole and not Giannis, but I also don't love how Reggie Miller mispronounced Wemby's name every time he said it. We can criticize commentators without insulting them. Yeah, I mean, I think, you guys want a fucking 105-mile-an-hour fastball right to the goddamn dome? I'm about to, let me motherfucking tell you something. Emily, you're not saying this. Let me be clear, Emily, I'm not saying this to you, okay? I get that it would be annoying that it's like, hey, dude, Victor Wembanyama is the number one pick. Like, he's a generational player. You should probably figure out how to say his name. Do you guys remember when Giannis was, like, finally starting to do it, and it was finally starting, and motherfuckers just didn't know how to say his last name? They would just call him the Greek Freak. That's all they would say. They would say the Greek Freak or Giannis. And then there was like this liberal... That was another email I got that I always make... Hold on. Stay with it, Nick. Stay with it, Nick. They were like, you're fucking xenophobic because you don't know how to say this person's last name. I don't think that's what that means, actually. I don't think that's what... I think it's just a lot of letters. It's a lot of vowels. A lot of vowels. There's a lot of consonants there. What's the longest last name that we're used to saying? Johnson? So, yeah, dude, when you put Antetokounmpo in front of a motherfucker, yeah, you're going to have to sound it, use your finger. What does this say? Okay. And then once you get it, it's a repetition. You get it, right? Wembanyama, that one's at least easy to like do the finger tracing thing. Wembanyama. It's spelled phonetically. It's not that hard to figure it out. I understand the sentiment of what you're saying, though. Back to the email. Doris Burke broke the glass ceiling, as most games are called by men, and it's just nice to hear a woman I can relate to as a fan. I'm tired of the narrative being, quote, women suck, their voices are annoying, they're diversity hires, etc. Like virtue signaling, yeah, all that bullshit. Because as a female fan, Doris, Candace Parker, and Beth Mowins make basketball just a little bit more interesting. It's disappointing to see men online ragging on a woman who is more successful than them and have seen their favorite teams live and courtside. But I guess jealousy makes people unbearable. Sorry for the long email, but this is what a 0.1%er needed to rant about. TLDR. I don't need to read the TLDR here. No, it's a good email. It's ironic. Is this irony? Is this irony or is this just funny? Let me talk myself through this. When you started talking about women who commentate on like somewhere between the C team and the A team for these major broadcast networks, the first one that came to mind in terms of one that motherfuckers hate this woman was Beth Mowins. Oh man, people don't like her at all. Sometimes I get it. Sometimes I get it a little bit. But to me, you as a play-by-play, I'm trying to think of who's a play-by-play person that I just can't stand. That if it's usually not the play-by-play guy, it's usually the color commentator. And I can't think of any women who do color commentating. Usually they just do play-by-play. And even then, I'll tell you, is it the Nuggets have one? The Bucks have one, right? This is going to be annoying to think about on the fly. But I totally agree with you in the overall general sentiment that Doris Burke is overhated, because I think what I mentioned in the episode that you're talking about here is that I wanted to make a quick little comment about her because she said something that I thought was inherently funny, but I qualified it with she deserves a spot on the A team. I think she deserves to be, when the finals roll around, and this season it's likely going to be Mike Breen, Doris Burke, and JJ Redick. The truth here for me, honestly, is I would rather it just be Van Gundy and Mark Jackson. I would, because, yeah, man, the two of those dudes would just kind of go off on some bullshit tangent 7 minutes into the game while like some super consequential shit was happening and kind of just make, what are you talking about, is kind of what you'd ended up saying. But I just found that to be very endearing. And even to your point here about Doris Burke being like, no, when the Celtics did something wrong and it fucked up whatever it fucked up. Yes, professionally, that's not good. Professionally, that's a big cardinal sin, is to make it seem like you have a vested interest in the outcome in either team. But again, to your point, is that not just the most relatable shit in the world? And it's annoying if you're a fan of not the Celtics, of whoever it was that they were playing in this game, right? That's just annoying. Like if I was a Pistons fan and I heard the opposing team on a national broadcast, or rather one of the commentators on a national broadcast, like kind of vying for the opposing team, I'd be like, what the fuck is your problem? That would be like a target on their back forever. What's funny is there's actually an official who to this day I like track if they're still calling games because of how bad she was for like 2 nights. Natalie Sago to this day is, to me, the worst official in the history of modern basketball because of how she treated Blake Griffin in 2018 and 2019. That's it. There was like 2 games. One of them I think was against Minnesota. I was so angry watching her officiate Blake that to this day, anytime I'm like watching a game, I will Google the ref assignments and be like, is Natalie Sago doing this game? And I got some shit from my girlfriend. She was like, why? Because she's a woman? And stop. No, that's not why. It's because she's dumb. It's because she gave Blake a technical when he did not deserve a technical. That's it. It could have been Scott Foster. If it was Scott Foster, I'd feel some type of way about Scott Foster, but it wasn't Scott Foster. It was Natalie Sago. So fuck Natalie Sago. Doris Burke is amazing. Doris Burke has always been amazing. What did Rachel Nichols do? What was her problem? People are gonna be like, oh, she had sex with Jimmy Butler in the bubble. Yeah, but is that real though? But what was the actual problem with her? Oh fuck, wasn't it something weird? Didn't she do something weird? I don't remember what it was. Was she one of those? No, she wouldn't have been one of those people who was like, oh, you guys are doing all of these like virtue signal hirings. But I feel like it was something like that. I don't remember what it was. Because it sucked, because every time Rachel Nichols would go on a podcast and she would just, like, talk hoops, she was good at her job. She was awesome. She was, like, very entertaining. She had interesting stories. She had a lot of connections. And then one day, maybe I should Google this on the fly, just so maybe I should cover my tracks a little bit here and talk myself through it. Rachel Nichols. Here's what I'm going to do. No, I'm not going to cut. This is an Evergreen episode, and it needs to be the full thing, so we're not going to cut. Rachel Nichols, I'm going to look up Rachel Nichols canceled. And maybe we'll find something there. Okay, here's a Reddit thread from 2 years ago. Did Rachel Nichols seriously just get canceled? Taken off of the NBA Finals coverage because she spoke her mind. She wasn't racist or anything like that, and now she's having to apologize and be taken. Okay, so I was right. But what did she actually do? What Jalen Rose said was 1,000 times. What happened? Oh my God, I need to figure this out on the fly. Why did Rachel Nichols get canceled? Okay. Rachel Nichols was pulled from the air at ESPN last year after the New York Times reported on disparaging comments that Rachel Nichols, who is white, made about a black colleague 1 year after. Right. Oh, wasn't it about like Malika Andrews or something? And she was like, oh, right. So I was kind of right. It was like okay, we got to go to reader mode. I'm not paying for the New York Times. This is fucked. Maria Taylor. From the New York Times, 1 year after high-profile canceling of her television show, Rachel Nichols is back. Blah, 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 blah. For 5 years, Nichols was the face of ESPN, the NBA coverage, sitting down for interviews with big stars, covering the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. Was pulled from the air, and her show was canceled last year after the New York Times reported, oh, so this is just exactly what I just read. But it was about Maria Taylor. There you go. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I'm pretty sure she, Maria Taylor or is it Mariah Taylor? It's Maria Taylor. Maria Taylor. I also am pretty sure it was actually Malika Andrews, but I don't think the New York Times would lie. That's a very arbitrary thing to lie about. Also, you could argue that, well, I don't want to. What was the email about? It was about Doris Burke. It wasn't even about Rachel Nichols. Let's jump into a different email here. Let's start this new segment called Blind Reading Emails. And I don't know how this is going to go. I'm just looking at these. Okay, this one is called, this subject line is from Nathan. We got this like 45 minutes ago. The subject line, help me, all caps, help me. This is from Nathan. Nathan needs some help. Nathan, welcome to the show. I hope this email doesn't suck, because if you're baiting me into reading a stupid email, I'm going to get really pissed off. Nick, I'm a Boston fan, and I'm so terrified of the Miami Heat. I need them to get bounced before we see them, because we cannot go from this dominant season to getting bounced by the literal devil. Playoff Jimmy. Somebody please help me. I will not be okay until Miami is gone. Please let Chicago or Atlanta beat them, because otherwise they'll do some voodoo shit and I will be crying. Also, the obligatory... Is this you? Are you the motherfucker who keeps sending in cross-country skiing emails? If you've been listening to the show for a while, you will remember a couple months ago when this motherfucker kept trying to send in cross-country skiing emails, and I was like, you're banned, stop emailing the show. I would never otherwise say this to somebody, stop emailing the show, because I'm not going to read your fucking cross-country skiing. And then, a month later, he sent in some shit, and he's like, hey, is my ban over? Here's a whole thing about cross-country skiing. It's literally never going to happen. He did a PS, and it was some bullshit cross-country. I'm gonna read this for you, Nathan. Stop sending me shit about cross-country, because I'm going to read this one take, and I'm going to have nothing to say about it. And it's it. That's it. Okay? Also, the obligatory cross-country skiing take. Claybo doesn't need 50K to 50... Doesn't need a 50K win to cement his GOAT status. He basically already has one. The DQ against Bolshinov was bullshit. And finally, good luck being a dad. Thanks for that. Yeah, Bolshinov is a piece of shit. He sucks at skiing. Everybody knows that. His poles are weak as fuck. They're like noodles. They suck. Everybody knows that, Nathan. Obviously, they know that. Claybo, Klaebo. Claybo. Has to be Claybo. Yeah, man. By the time this comes out, I mean, hey, you'll already know what happened in the play-in. So maybe this one's just funny as a before the play-in happens. As of this recording, it hasn't happened yet. But by the time you're listening to this, it will have happened. How did this one age? How is Nathan doing right now? Is he playing Miami, or is he doing okay? Did Miami get bounced? I don't want to make a prediction because it's going to age stupid. In an ideal world, Miami loses by like 1,500. And it's so bad that Adam Silver is like, you guys are actually, they like relegate them to like some Puerto Rican basketball league. And they also move the stadium to like Key West. And then the stadium in Key West, in a few years, you assume the elevation, the ocean's rising, will just like completely wash all that shit away. How far away are we from that? From Key West just not existing anymore? Because there's a lot of shit down there on like really small plots of land. Like if we fast forward the clock 20 years, does Key West, like just as a concept, still exist, or is it toast? Is 20 years not long enough? Surely something in 20 years from now is going to be gone down there. 50 years? 50 years, Key West doesn't exist anymore. There's no way. That's got to be the weirdest thing about bringing a kid into the world. You're like, man, they're going to be pissed in like 50 years. Our son is going to be like, the fuck? You guys did all this? We're like, we didn't do this. This was y'all. This wasn't us. This wasn't our generation. We were like, hey, this is not chill. The older generations were like, it's all right. It's all right. Just use different straws. Let's read a different email. This one comes to us from Josh. Wait, okay, so there's a few emails here. I don't know which one to read. Subject line is from Josh. Josh, welcome to the show. Does this suck? We're 20 minutes into this. Is this going well? Subject line, my new favorite song about sports. There's not a link here, is there? There is a link. I can't play this on the show, Josh. I'm sorry. We're going to move on to Schuler. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Schuler, welcome to the show. Subject line, this better not suck, by the way. Subject line, from Sky. Oh, okay, so it's from Sky. Oh, whoa, I get it. It's Skyler. Wow, that's spelt in such a, for those out there, Schuyler, Sky. So it'd be Skyler then. Very unique spelling there. Subject line is essentially Wilt Wembanyama. For the pod, you mentioned earlier that there should be an era of basketball known as BW, aka before Wilt. And I completely agree. The chain bastard is a fraud and will always be one in my eyes until I see footage of the 100-point game. He also took a scoring title away from Elgin Baylor, which kind of sucks. Elgin damn near averaged 40 that year. Piece of shit! Sorry, went on a tangent there. You didn't have to type that. Shut up. My take is that decades from now, we'll be talking to the younger generation about Vic the same way that old heads talk about Wilt, to the point where things sound unreal. He was 7'4", every dunk looked like an accident. He shot from the logo, ran point guard late in the game, all at the old-ass age of 19 years old. This thought created a question in my head for you. We see a lot of role players get love from the early 2000s. Enter Random Former Players podcast. We'll speak on guys like Marco Bellinelli or Matt Bonner or Baron Davis as if they would dominate in this era just because it's very offensively focused nowadays. Yeah, you would think breaking the email. Gilbert Arenas would do that bullshit. Him and like Josiah Johnson. Would Club 520 do that? The Jeff Teague podcast? They just do it more reasonably. Like, they talk about motherfuckers like Brandon Jennings and Monte Ellis. They talk about dudes who could actually hoop. And, like, Gilbert Arenas just talks about dudes who, like, he was boys with but actually sucked, and then also just has garbage takes. So, Nick, what role players in the current NBA will you be talking about? Whoa. Oh, what an email. I probably would have read this regardless. I'm so happy I'm reading this on the fly. What role players in the current NBA will you be talking about decades in the future and gas up to an unbelievable amount? God damn. Whoa. Luke Kennard has got to be on the list. Wow. Damn. Thomas Bryant is on there as like just one of those if you know energy guys. When he smoked his knee a couple years ago, it really, really, really disturbed me. A couple years ago, I would have said Dylan Windler, like back when nobody knew who he was. I was in on the Sam Merrill thing way before everybody else was. Not a Victory Lap podcast. That was a really douchey thing to say. Sorry, everybody likes Sam Merrill. I wasn't there early. I mean, I was, but, whatever. It's not a Victory Lap podcast, so it's fine. Langston Galloway is always going to have a really special place in my heart. Talk about, like, Wayne Ellington, Reggie Jackson, Contavious Caldwell-Pope. There is a theme here. I'm, just trying to name as many former Pistons as I can. It's an awesome question, though, because I'm definitely going to be forgetting somebody. Monte Ellis is probably I know he doesn't count for right now, but when you just think about dudes that I grew up with, Monte Ellis is definitely on the list. I would liken something I said the other day was the run that OJ went on Twitter for like the last 3 years before he died was truly some of the funniest shit that I'd ever seen in my life. He was just unapologetically hilarious. And the way that OJ tweeted, it was very similar to a pre-Golden State Monte Ellis run for the Warriors. I really felt like it was the same picture, .jpg. For as good as Monte Ellis was, I guess even when Steph got there too, that was the same level of good that O.J. Simpson was funny on the internet for like 3 years before he died, truthfully. Other than that, there's got to be some more. This is going to piss me off. This is the perfect time to just name NBA players too. If you think about it from a 2K perspective, I always bring up Luke Babbitt. If you're one of those people who only played 2K and that's just kind of how you know who's good in the league, you would have thought 5 years ago in 2K like 18, you would have thought that Luke Babbitt was that bitch, that he had a fucking burner, because he had one in the game, but like not really in real life. Awesome question that I wish I could think more about. There was another one in here that I wanted to realize. Here's one. I don't know if this counts as anything, honestly. This one comes to us from Peyton. I did read this one. I just didn't have much to say about it, and there's not much of a question. It's just more of a... But the subject line is, I was right about the Dodgers, by the way. Peyton, welcome back to the show. First off, congrats on the future kid. Thank you. By the time you're listening to this, he's been born. Now, I'm sitting here watching Sunday Night Baseball, ignoring the fire alarm going off in my... Yeah, okay, cool. It genuinely pisses me off how disgusting of an amalgamation of talent that the Dodgers have. I was justified in calling you evil because the way that the Dodgers play baseball is genuinely evil, and everybody involved in this organization has the wrath of 1,000 suns waiting for them after they pass. The sport I love is truly in the mud. The uniforms still suck. My Cardinals still suck. And there is a cartoonishly unethical baseball, and there is cartoonishly unethical baseball taking place in Chavez Ravine. I won't throw any half-baked takes in here, and instead we'll let you rest the... Oh, okay, so you sent this on let me enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Thank you very much, Peyton. Who cares? The uniforms in baseball do suck. The first time I read that, I thought you were talking specifically about the Dodgers, and I was like, that truly is next-level copium, because if you don't think that Dodger blue is like the most gorgeous thing that you've ever laid eyes on, you are what we call in the industry, and if you're not in the industry, you wouldn't really know this, a fucking liar. Fucking liar is what you are. Dodgers uniforms are historically great. Dodger Stadium, historically beautiful. I don't think I've ever told this story before, because Peyton, the truth is I don't got shit to say to you because you're not right. You're not. It turns out I'm the one who's being proven right, that the Dodgers are just really fun to watch. If you're somebody who just casually watches baseball. Turns out I was right that you should, if you want your love of baseball to be reinvigorated, just watch them. Just watch them. Here's a story I've never told before on the show. Rusty Buckets was in town the other day, and I let him know about this. It was right before I moved out of California. I had like a week left, right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, all I had really to do was smoke weed. So I was just hanging out. I was smoking some weed, and I thought to myself, dude, your entire life, your dream has been to go to a Dodger game. You've lived in California for a year, and you've just never looked into it. I was like, what am I doing? So immediately I go on my phone. I look up Dodger tickets. I'm like, dog, they're in town. I got to see them before I leave. Not only were they in town, it was Clayton Kershaw bobblehead night. And I still have it somewhere. It'd take me a second to go find it. It's still all packed up, but I got it. So I go to this game, right? And I don't know how many of you know this, but the thing about the Dodgers is if you go to Dodger Stadium, Dodger dogs, nice little 10-inch hot dog. They're fucking amazing. They're amazing, like next level hot dogs. And I'm a hot dog guy. I'm from the Midwest. That's like half of my blood is hot dogs, right? So before I sit down, it's just me at this game. I'm just by myself. I'm blown to smithereens. Like I hardly know where I am, but I'm there and I'm having a good time. I get my beer and I get my 2 hot dogs. And then when they're doing last call, it's like the 7th inning, and I want to take off a little early because it's traffic and it's Los Angeles, man. I'm not messing with that. So trying to get out of Silver Lake as fast as I can. So it's 7th inning. Dodgers are up by 100. I go to bounce, get 1 last beer, get 2 last dogs, and I'm out of there. I get my beer, I get my 2 dogs, and it's this little fucker, man. He's like 19 years old, and he's working the register, and he sees me put the 2 dogs up there, and he goes, you put like $10 in there, $20 in this thing. He like points down to his little tip jar. He goes, I'll let you grab 2 more. Dodger dogs are expensive, and technically I was saving money by doing this. So I looked at him, and I looked back at the thing, shrugged my shoulders. I said, all right, put some money in the tip jar. I grabbed my 2 dogs. I'm walking around Dodger Stadium with my beer and 4 hot dogs. Now remember, I had already eaten 2. And now I was about to eat 4. I did end up eating all 4, which meant that in a span of 3 hours, I had 60 inches of hot dog festering inside of me as I was walking around this stadium. Boy, I wouldn't have changed a damn thing. I enjoyed every single bite of those hot dogs. Dodger dogs, ladies and gentlemen. Peyton, that's my response to your email, is until you've had 60 inches of hot dog in you, I don't want to hear shit about how much you hate the Dodgers, because I've given them an arm and a leg. I've given them my fucking life. I put my life on the line for that franchise. 60 inches, that's like a full man. That's like a grown man. Some of you are 60 inches tall out there. Although 60 inches, what is that? That's like 5'2". It's like 5'2". I don't think that many people are listening to this that are like 5'2". There are certainly some. Let's get to another email. There was one that I wanted to read. Something about the sweethearts of the NBA. It's going to take me, this was a while ago. We're going to cut until I find the email. Email comes into us from Ryan. Ryan, welcome back to the show. This is the Sweetheart Starting 5. That's the subject line. Greetings from Dallas. I apologize if this seems redundant and too soon off of the heels of the Bad Vibe Starting 5, breaking the email, a segment that we did a couple weeks ago. But after hearing your takes on that, I only feel like it made sense to switch it up and ask you for who you think the sweetest guys are in the NBA. The only real clarification I have to offer, giving you guys some direction here, look at him, is that this would be different from the Dream Blunt rotation in the sense that these are guys that you could take to meet your grandma and she would love them. You can try to limit yourself to one Detroit Piston, or you can do what you normally do and just take the email in whatever direction you want. Either way, if Steven Adams isn't your first overall pick, you will be hearing from my representatives. Much love, Ryan. Ryan, here's the thing. We got to think about this. You're not wrong that Steven Adams should be on the team. He should be on the team. But if we're also trying to think about this from like an actual basketball sense, I can't have Boban, Giannis, and Steven Adams on the same team. Because my response to this is it's Boban. I would pick him over Steven Adams, honestly. And maybe part of it is just because the recent history, as of this recording, is that last night Boban intentionally missed 2 free throws so that Clipper fans could get free chicken. I think, first of all, sneaky, is that one of the funnier, like, promotions, I guess is what you would call it, that these NBA teams do, that these promotional teams do in these arenas, is, if a player misses 2 free throws, it's sometimes you go to a Laker game, a Clipper game, it's like a free taco from fucking, not Del Taco, what is it? Not Carl's Jr., shit! Jack in the Box. It's from Jack in the Box. You get like a free taco from Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box isn't bad as a fast food connoisseur. It's all right. It's fine. It's fine. I never actually tried their tacos, but it's stuff like that. It's funny, although I guess in some way it's not, because wasn't that what Isaiah Thomas got all fucked up over? Is that a fan like called him he didn't call him the hard R, but he called him something not nice. And Isaiah Thomas was like, what the fuck is your problem? And the guy was like, I'm sorry, I just wanted a Frosty. It was because Isaiah Thomas, like, didn't miss both of his free throws, some bullshit like that. He said something fucked up to Isaiah Thomas. Wasn't nice at all. He just wanted a Frosty. Maybe it's not the best promotion in the world, but damn it if it isn't funny when Boban intentionally misses both free throws, or at least intentionally missed the second one so that Clipper fans could get free chicken. I got to put him on the team. No? And if you want to have some compromise, I'll put Steven Adams as the 6th. Is that all right? I'm going to put Steven Adams as the 6th. And then at the 4, we're putting Giannis. That one's free. No. At the 4, you said I can pick a Piston, so we're putting Isaiah Stewart. Guy's a fucking sweetheart, never done anything wrong in his life. The guy is honestly just a huge teddy bear. So we have Boban at the 5. We have Isaiah Stewart at the 4. We're going to put Giannis at the 3. And then shooting guards in the NBA. Point guard is Luka. Tentatively. It's crazy that you just can't even put Steph on here because he just hates poor people. He's like, oh my God, you're poor? And he fucking throws up. Oh my God. Like 5 years ago, I think we would have put Steph on here. I don't think we would do that anymore. So tentatively, Luka is at one of those two positions, and then Anthony Edwards? I'm trying to think. My grandma is like in some way like part of this show. I mention her all the time. Hell, she called me. Sorry, Grandma. Heck, she called me in the middle of an episode a couple of weeks ago. Do I want Anthony? Yeah, Anthony Edwards, I think, would be very respectful to my grandma. I really think he would. We're going Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Isaiah Stewart, Boban Marjanovic. That's compelling, right? I'm trying to think of some honorable. Who's a sweetheart coach? It's not Joe Mazzulla. That guy's a fucking freak. It's not Kevin Ollie. Monty Williams is a really nice guy. I would have put Dwayne Casey on here. Would have loved to have put Stan Van Gundy on here. Is there like a support group for teams, fans of teams who were coached by Stan Van Gundy? What a fever dream that feels like. What does that feel like for Pelicans fans? Do they like talk about that? I never see them talk about that. Do they remember that Stan Van Gundy was their coach? I think Heat fans are usually like 11 years old, so they definitely don't remember when Stan Van Gundy was their coach. Magic fans, it's like there's no reason to be a Magic fan unless you are a Magic fan. I know that sounded stupid, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. Nobody's like, oh, I'm suddenly a Magic fan. Nobody does that. So I trust that there's some seniority in there. I don't trust it, with the Heat. Hell no. Stan Van Gundy, man. How about a support line for people who have rooted for teams where the coach is also the president of basketball operations, which is funny. Man, as of this recording, I mentioned I didn't want to say anything. Ryan, I hope I answered your email because I'm definitely about to forget that I'm supposed to be talking about that. I'm about to start doing my own thing, which, hey, you gave me the green light to do. The moment that this is coming out, man, I said I didn't want to do anything that was like too on the nose. I wanted to keep it as evergreen as possible. But you have the Pistons coming out talking about like, yeah, we're going to hire a president of basketball operations. Cool. So when is John Horst walking through that door? Because that would be fucking cool, maybe? Haven't thought about it very much. This report is very fresh. It's very new. I'm trying to... I kind of want to get sassy. I'm feeling like I want to get a little sassy. Is there an email in here that's going to kind of let me be a little bit mean to people? Maybe let me get a little bit rude? Here's an email. Well, no, I guess I already did this. Coping with the OJ loss. I mean, we already did that. I think I'm just over it. I think I'm over that he's dead. It's not funny to me anymore. He died, and it was like, wow, oh my God, OJ Simpson is dead. And then you kind of just like, yeah. And originally, the report that he made his immediate family sign NDAs was like discredited, and they said that wasn't true. And then TMZ would like kind of sneaky double down on it, and they're like, no, that's actually definitely true. And in the last like 5 to 10 days that he was alive, he had dozens of people come to meet him, and he made his immediate family, including his kids, sign an NDA. I'm just confused. Wow, how long does that last? You can make people sign like a posthumous non-disclosure agreement, how long does that last? Because who is there to enforce that? Like his representation? Does Orenthal James Simpson have representation? How do you represent a client that's deceased? Also, how much money was in the estate that allowed O.J. Simpson to pay lawyers even when he was dead? So and also these kids are the ones whose mom was Nicole Brown Simpson. So I feel like we're having the same conversation as to when I was like, mattresses are a complete scam. You know, they talk about, oh, you want to make sure you spend as much money as you can on a mattress. You want to spend about $4,000 because you sleep on it for how long? But how do you quantify $4,000 worth of sleep? How long is that? Is that a year? $4,000 worth of sleep? So how much would a night be? You go to bed 365 times in a night. If I'm saying, let's do some math really quick. 365 divided by, hold on. No, I would do 4,000, right? 4,000 divided by 365. 4,000 divided by 365. It's about $11 per night sleeping. Fuck, that makes sense, though. No, what the fuck? That doesn't make sense at all. It's like a basic necessity is sleep, a place to sleep. Imagine that you didn't have somewhere to be or to live. You didn't have a home. And there was this utility that was like, you can give us $11 a night. You can sleep in this bed. Is that a good deal? That kind of feels like a good deal. But $11 is kind of a lot for somebody who's homeless. You got to come up with that every single day on top of paying for food. You know here's something funny. There's a non-zero chance I've already mentioned this in an episode prior to this, and maybe I just forgot that I mentioned it in this one, so I apologize if I've technically already brought this up before, and I'm presenting it as if it's something new, but it's not. We were watching an episode of one of Gordon Ramsay's, bullshit shows. We just can't get it. We just watch all of his shows. And it was, at some point, he's like working with this restaurant, like trying to get them back on their feet. And what he does is invite the mayor of that local, that little Midwest town, wherever it was. He invited the mayor to have dinner at this place. And my girlfriend and I are eating dinner while we're watching the show, and it clicked. I said to her, oh my God. I go, one day when we eventually move, and we don't live in Chicago anymore, and either we move back home to Michigan and we move back to where we're originally from, or, some adjacent town, eventually, it could be 10 years from now, but eventually we'll leave Chicago, right? Even though we just bought this place. I think I'm going to run for mayor. I was like, oh my God, that's my dream. Suddenly, as of this moment right now, I've never thought about it before. Right, and this is my new dream. I'm going to run for mayor somewhere I know for a fact I could win. And she was like, isn't that expensive? I was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe. But theoretically, if the town is small enough, all you have to do is just put up a bunch of those like yard signs with like a website. So, all right, I'm paying to like host a URL. That's fine. And then on the website, I'm just going to be like, hey man, this town is fucking, can you guys hear this outside? I'm going to be quiet for a second. Of course they stopped. I'll just move on with what I was talking about. This is the same episode that, 45 minutes ago, there was a damn car accident outside. Doesn't really look like anything's going on out there now. Yeah, who's to say I couldn't win a mayoral election? Who's to say that I couldn't? You think I wouldn't get y'all to stuff the ballot box? Think I wouldn't do that? Hell no. Well, hell yes I would. You're crazy if you think I wouldn't. But then at the same time, do I really have political aspirations? I don't think so. I think I do with like the idea of it. And the idea of being an elected official. But I'm also terrified of power. I would work way better as Robin than I would as Batman. I'm such a good soldier I'm not a leader, though. That was my whole thing when I was working at Wave Sports and Entertainment, when I was working for Buckets. I would say all the time, they would be like, are you good with doing this thing? You know, this ad read, this TikTok, whatever it was they needed me to do, whatever mundane thing it was. I'm a good soldier. I'll do whatever you guys need. You're paying me. I'll do whatever you want me to do. That's fine. But just tell me what you need me to do, and I'll do it. That's sort of, I operate really well in that capacity. Like from an employment standpoint, and that's kind of the constant. All of the jobs that I've worked in my life, I've worked at a meat processing plant. My job was to cut the heads and legs off of deer, skin them and shit. When I was like 15, it was my first job. It was under the table. And then after that, I went to Nike, worked there for a couple years, kicked ass. And then after that, I went to Hot Topic, worked my way up the ladder there, went from a sales associate to a key holder in like 2 months. And then I went from a key holder to assistant manager in like 4 months. And then after that, the motherfucker they brought it. And then my manager was leaving. I was like, oh, shit, they're about to give me the keys to this. I already had the keys, but I was like, they're about to give me the whole store at Hot Topic. And then, because my manager's leaving, and then they bring in this guy who was like 45. Fuck. I was like, this guy's not going anywhere. So then for like a year, I was just an assistant manager, and I just maxed out. I was making like $11 an hour at this Hot Topic. God damn, man. How many of you out there? So my working career was just retail up until YouTube and you know, me being on camera popped off, and then I got hired by a digital media company, and then I got so I was only ever a retail guy. I don't know how many of you guys are retail workers or have been in the past and had to work Black Friday. Man, I think I probably did like 3 or 4. So I've done my 10,000 hours. You know, I've done the thing where you work from, because every year Black Friday would start earlier and earlier. You know, it was originally midnight, and then they're like, no, we can start at 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day. What the fuck? That's so fucked up to do to people. But that's what I had to do. And so I remember at Hot Topic, I had only been working there for like a week. I was like maybe like a 19-year-old. And they hired me for Black Friday. I was only technically seasonal, and the 2 or 3 places that I ever got hired. Oh, and I also worked for the Cubs. I forgot about that. I worked in a retail space there. All 3 of my retail jobs, I was hired originally as seasonal, but I just kicked ass. I was just awesome at the job. And so almost every single time, I was the only one that they ended up keeping to be part-time and then eventually full-time. So like, you're awesome. I'm a good soldier. That's what I do. Oh, and then I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before from a working experience standpoint. During COVID, first of all, I was just a blogger. I was just writing like NBA articles for Fansided. And then also I eventually got a job working at a place called the Friends Experience in downtown Chicago. And at certain major cities across the country, it has moved around. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. It was like an interactive theater art piece for the television show, Friends. And they like recreated the sets, and you could go and like you could be in Joey and Chandler's apartment. And, you know, you could, all of these different, you go to Central Perk, all these different sets for Friends, including like real props and shit that had been on the show. And I worked in the retail space that was attached to it. So I was like peddling Hugsies and like books and just a bunch of just t-shirts, just miscellaneous bullshit. That's just what my job was. That's just how I made money during COVID. And then it was, as soon as that job ended, because it was a pop-up. It was only for like 3 months. And one of those jobs, the only job I've ever worked that you got paid every week. Oh my God. What a fucking feeling that is, getting paid every single week. Makes you really feel like you're going to be okay, honestly. Except the 1 week that you're like, I think I just need to take it easy this week, and you make like $30 and you're like, oh, so I'm going to have to die then? Because what the fuck am I going to do? It was as soon as that job wrapped up and they moved to like Atlanta or something, or like DC, that I started doing YouTube. Started doing it officially. And then that was the summer that, I was only doing it for like 3 months, and then I got hired by the other company. And then that lasted like 7 months. And then I've kind of been back and forth on this ever since. And, since November, I've pretty much been back in the saddle. But, yeah. Alrighty, folks. Good episode, hopefully. I don't know. We learned a little bit about each other in this one. Thank you to everybody who emailed into the show. It just feels weird doing like an evergreen one when I know that by the time this comes out, I'm just going to be like a completely different person. I'm really interested to see how fatherhood changes me and how it changes her, honestly, too. Motherhood changes her. Really, really excited. I was talking to my brother about the election. I told him if RFK gets 14 million votes, I will buy you Taco Bell. Because I don't think he is. I think he's going to get I think if he gets 10, I'll be shocked. Maybe the funniest thing about Robert Kennedy Jr. is that whoever is on his graphics team fucking rules. I'm being kind of ironic because all the graphics that he posts are so Zoomer / YouTube thumbnail pilled where you're like, it's almost like RFK is doing like reaction beams for his fucking, just his normal Twitter graphics. It's bizarre. My brother's like, yeah, but it's working. It is? Is it? What does that mean? What does that mean? All these fucking networks are so lame and transparent in the worst ways. On their hands and knees begging Trump and Biden to debate because they know how lucrative those ad spaces are to sell. And they're like, no, come on. It's for the people. It's for the people. It's important that you guys debate. I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. I don't think any of us are we're going to watch it. We don't need it, though. We already know who we're voting for. Right? And if you don't, you at least know who you're not voting for. Does that make sense? Because even if you're somebody who's like, no, I'm just voting for Trump. Like, cool. If you're like, no, I'm just voting for Biden. You know for a fact that you're not voting for the other person. I fucked that up. If you don't, you know what I'm trying to say. Even if you don't want to vote for your party's candidate, you know that you're not voting for the other guy. So then what's the alternative? Who's that? Oh, fuck. Who's that woman? Who's that woman? I can't remember her name or if she's even still in the running. I don't know if she's dropped out or anything because she was like so bottom tier independent that I don't even know. So then what? People are just going to get pushed to RFK? 14 million votes. That's the number. That's not even a win, by the way. That's just like, oh, nice. So you actually did something, but he's not going to. I just don't think he's going to. Same guy was like, we need to dismantle Wall Street. And the same guy who's like being backed by Wall Street. Cool. Sounds good, RFK. Alrighty, folks, if you're listening to this on Spotify, be sure to rate 5 stars. If you are watching this on YouTube, subscribe. Make sure to leave a like. A nice little comment for the algorithm. I will catch you guys
computers now have
in the next
control.
Beautiful.
Primary control.
Beautiful.
Primary control.
Beautiful.
Primary control.
Beautiful.